This is Erik from SBI Insight and Sustainable Brand Index. In this video, I'm going to go through an actual analysis report from one of our clients. This is the table of content, so you get a good idea. So first chapter, market development. The development for brands in general. We look at the sustainability communication. How do people perceive that? What are drivers for credible communication? What are drivers for not so credible communication? So basically, to get a good idea, okay, this is how the market, this is where the market is at the moment. Go deeper into the ranking to provide insights about where your brand is ending up and of course the competition and so on. So this is just an overview and some examples, but looking at, of course, explaining what the ranking is and how it's working, but also like how are we developing as a brand versus the market in general, the market average, our industry, are we going in line or better or worse? Same for the competition. We also have some cases. You can see Elovena here, for example, which is number one in Sustainable Brand Index Finland in 2024. So what can we learn from that? We have other cases from other countries. Everything to provide some kind of insights on what are best practices basically in building a sustainable brand. All right, so next part or next chapter is the brand chapter, your sustainable brand. Ranking over time for each brand within environmental responsibility, within social responsibility. We also break it down into awareness. So basically, what do people know about the brand and the brand's work with environment and social responsibility? Who has no knowledge at all? Who has some kind of gut feeling? Basically, maybe not too aware of what they're doing, but they do have some sense. And also, of course, who are those who have knowledge about the brand and what they're doing. So that is one thing. And then we look at the attitude. So what is the attitude to the brand in terms of environment and social responsibility? Who's positive, who's negative, etc., etc. Driving these feelings and thoughts and attitudes. So that's where we go into these associations. So first of all, we have a look at the open-ended answers. Really, what are the spontaneous associations connected to this brand? We move into the next part, the next layer. So we can say that the spontaneous thoughts are the first layer. Second layer, you have these associations that are to 10 areas. These are the 10 areas that consumers deem to be most important in general, regardless of the industry. Then we move into the third layer, which is the most detailed layer, I would say. This is where we have these areas that are specific for your category. So these are, depending on the category, you have between 25 to 30 areas that are specific for the category. A lot of areas. I'm not going to stay here for too long, but a lot of areas, and it would be the same for your category or your industry. Of course, also putting it into the context of the competition. So you can see here are the competitors. I've also removed them, but you can see, for example, in this case, the client in question, they're actually fairly strong within transparency. And then moving on to one thing that I'm briefly going to mention, because this is very unique depending on the brand. Of course, everything is depending on the brand, but this is something that we look at because the things that we just looked at when it came to these three layers, the brand drivers there, those are things that you can actually impact. You can communicate, you can do a lot of good work within sustainability, and hopefully people will see that and notice that. Then there are, of course, factors that you cannot really affect, and we actually look at them as well. Moving on to the consumer chapter and understanding consumer preferences and priorities and, of course, behaviors. That's key. So what we're looking at in this chapter is really a variety of things, but we start out with how important sustainability is in the industry or the category in question versus other categories in industry. So that's to get an idea of how prioritized is our category or industry as on the market in general. We're looking at barriers and opportunities. What are things that can actually make people want to pay a bit more for sustainability or at least act in a sustainable way? So those are some examples of those. And then, of course, big focus on the things that you might see here, the bar charts in the middle and the spider web there as well, like what are priorities? The analysis and recommendations chapter. And this is of course, highly unique for each client of ours. Summarizing a bit, what's the situation for the brand, what are key challenges, what are problems that they might have connected to the brand and sustainability and the industry, what are their strengths, weaknesses, and so on. So we really kind of provide them with this is the current situation for the brand at the moment. So you might see at the top left here, you can see that some parts of the funnel are highlighted, or rather they are in a darker blue color. So you can see those are the ones we focus on. It's the brand and the strategy, it's the focus areas and the communication. So that's where we feel that we have the most to contribute with this year.